Oh goodness me. Hope you're ready for what is coming. Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. There's a band in there, and we'll share as well. Roy's up to his games, Ralph's stories to tell. I hope I didn't get a copyright strike. It's F2. It's F2. Well, that was weird. Anyway, we've got a brand new F2 season to get into. This is the 2023 F2 season in F124. Let's have a little run through the drivers we have for this season. MP Motorsport, we've got Dennis Auger and Jane Deruvala. At Roden Carlin, Zane Maloney and Enzo Fittipaldi. At ART, we have Teo Porcher and Victor Martins. At Prema Racing, we've got Frederick Vesti and Oliver Behrman. At the High-Tech team, we have Jack Crawford and Isaac Hadjar, a fiery Frenchman moving up into a Formula 2. Ayumu Iwasa partners Arthur Leclerc at the Dams team, and then over at Invicta we've got Jack Doohan alongside Amari Cordial, and then to PHM replacing the Charus team we've got Roy Nassani and Brad Benavides. There's a bit of a throwback, even though it's only to last year. Roman Stanek and Clement Novalak at the Trident team, and then over at Van Amersfoort we've got Richard Bashaw, the Dutchman, for the Dutch team, as well as Juan Manuel Correa. And then finally over at Campos, Kushmini alongside Ralph Boschung. And it is Ralph Boschung who we will be driving as this season. We believe in Ralph, that is the motto, and one I certainly relate to. Ralph Boschung is certainly a driver I have always believed in. Ever since I started watching F2 in 2019, I always thought Ralph Boschung was a very much underrated driver, especially in the Formula 1 games with the driver ratings. He's quite often rated as one of the worst, and I really don't think that is the case at all. Ralph Boschung has competed in Formula 2 since 2017 when the championship began, alongside the likes of Charles Leclerc, for example, which is crazy to think about. But it was not until 2021 when he was finally able to amass the sponsorship and the backing to complete a full season. The full season is what we are doing here, by the way. But yeah, it was a long time coming for Ralph Boschung to finally get to that point. And it was that 2021 season that would ultimately be his strongest, scoring 59.5 points, as well as 2 podiums at Jeddah and in Abu Dhabi, to bring home a top 10 result in the championship. 2022 was a bit more difficult with missing a few rounds due to injuries, and in one of those rounds at the Red Bull Ring he was actually replaced by Roberto Merri, who in a weird coincidence was a driver we drove as back in F1 2019 in our first F2 2018 season there, on a grid that featured Arjun Maini, brother of Kush Maini, who is now our teammate for this upcoming season, driving as Ralph Boschung. So things go round in circles. But anyway, 2023 though, it would be Ralph Boschung's final year, not just in F2 but in motorsport entirely. And as you can see at the end of practice, we've got ourselves not inside the top 14. We're 15th fastest, but in amongst it, which is all that matters at the moment. I actually needed to do a lot of tuning, which is not something I've ever done in the F1 games really, so that was quite interesting to do throughout practice. But I was very happy with the progress I made with the car and getting more stable, because it was quite undrivable. But anyway, like I was saying, in 2023, in the race we'll have coming up first actually in this video, the sprint race in Bahrain, Ralph Boschung finally was able to break through and take his first victory in Formula 2, and backing it up with a second place in the sprint, in the feature race rather, meant he led the championship after the first round, and held that championship lead actually after race 3, the sprint race in Jeddah, but unfortunately it all fell apart after that, with just 3 points finishes for the rest of the season.
To view your current tyre, tyre, brake and engine temperatures, press the MFD button to open the multifunction display, and then press it again to cycle through until you reach the temperature information screen. Okay, that's all the checks complete, we're ready to go.
So as we're rolling out for qualifying, I've almost finished my little intro on Ralph Boschung, but I did think, you know, it was important to go through all of this for a bit of context about the driver we are going to be playing as for this season. The only other thing I wanted to mention was that Ralph Boschung did not have you know, a manager or anything. He organised all of his sponsors and contracts on his own, and that was probably why, in part, why it was so difficult to get onto the grid. You know, for that full 2021 season, why that was such a big deal. And yeah, it's a little strange now in 2024. You know, as I said, Ralph Boschung, well, he's actually the only driver to have competed in every season of Formula 2 up to 2023. So to not have Boschung on the grid does feel a bit strange. You know, watching F2 now in 2024, but times move on, and here in the Formula 1 game in F1 24, we're going to see if we can rewrite some history in the 2023 F2 season, and we'll see if we can take Ralph Boschung not only to a sprint race victory, but the ultimate goal is to a championship as well. And it all starts here, the first qualifying session of the season here in Bahrain, and at the moment we're kind of sitting mid-pack-ish towards the back of the top 10, so we do need to improve on the first lap we did, which was honestly a bit of a banker lap. So I think we can improve on that, but we make an absolute mess of the left-hander there, and that's cost us some time. And it's been a bit of a messy midsection of the lap, and we're under a little bit of pressure from the car behind, but we're not going to worry too much about them for the moment. But yeah, we are in a bit of a tricky situation here. We do definitely need to improve, and we are still improving despite a few little mishaps throughout this lap. So as the confidence is building and as the tyre temperature is building, as you can see in the bottom right there with the indicators, some of the tyres very much on the cold side, so we do need to keep an eye on those tyre temperatures, because in the chilly night air, those tyres are struggling to warm up. But we do manage to improve on our time, and we are second fastest
lap at the moment, 1 minute 44.3
at the moment, with Victor Martins at the top of the timetables.
With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the feature race tomorrow, so make sure you join us there.
Well, we actually have the sprint race coming up first, but never mind. It is Victor Martins who takes pole position, and will start at the front of the grid for the feature race. Later on, we'll be alongside. Dennis Hauger takes P3 alongside Arthur Leclerc in P4. Novalak, Daruvala, Kushmaini, the two Indian drivers together there in P6 and 7. P8 for Teo Borchier, Richard Verschoor and Jack Doohan round out the top 10. Jack Doohan will take reverse grid pole with Verschoor alongside on the front row for the sprint race, which we'll get into right now. So let's do this. It's the first race of the season. This is where our championship fight begins.
So today, the sprint race, no pit stops, just full on pace. It's all about speed, daring, and sheer driving skill. What, I wonder, is in store for us today? Bahrain represents an exceptional 3.36 miles of racing. Lots of opportunities to overtake throughout its 15 corners. Now, this track has built a reputation for being brutal on the rear tyres, so keep an eye on how these young drivers manage their rubber. Strategy here could ultimately determine the winner of the race. And we welcome you to the Formula 2 commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me for this one, Alex Brundle. It is a sprint race, it is race day. How much can you take from that one lap pace into our multi-lap contest today?
Well, you've got the grid reversed, giving some drivers who wouldn't normally get it the opportunity to take a win or a podium home. They're going to be looking to snatch that opportunity if at all possible.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Right, so it is, of course, an all sunny day. Actually, a little bit of cloud at the end there, but no stops, of course, in the sprint race. And interesting to hear Alex Rundle's voice, it's got to be said. So used to hearing Davide Valsecchi in his very much iconic accent associated.
Okay, how was that pull away? You'll have a bit more grip than that on the start, but we need to warm the tyres properly now. Make sure you get some heat into the brakes as well.
Associated with Formula 2, particularly so in the Formula 1 games. But of course the change does make sense. Alex Brundle has been commentating Formula 2 for a couple of years now as we line ourselves up on the grid.
Okay, incredible parking there, nice one. That's going to give you the edge if you can get a good launch as the race starts.
And
Okay,
yeah,
so that's the rest.
yeah, we are ready to go racing here in Bahrain for race 1 of the season. It's lights out and away we go for the sprint race in Bahrain. And it's a relatively steady start for us as they're already going 3 wide. Make that 4 wide in front. Dennis Hauger looking to the inside, and there's surely going to be contact there. Banging wheels between all 4 of them. Clement Novalak there, along with Jane Deruvala involved. We're going to see if we can get the run on Deruvala actually on the exit. We can't quite get there. We're still looking to the inside. Deruvala hard on the defense as we switch to the outside. We send it in. And we actually carry some good mid-corner speed there. We drive all the way around the outside and get those moves done to move ourselves ahead of both Clement Novalak as well as Dennis Hauger. So that was a mega move around the outside, and we were able to clear a bunch of the traffic early in this race. Move ourselves up into P6 already, so it's been a really nice start to the race, and we've managed to get through cleanly. No damage to the car, so we can push on safely in this race. And yeah, hope that we can keep up with the group in front, but we'll see how it all plays out. Right now though, we've gotten through the opening phase of the race cleanly, and that is all that matters as we begin to close in slightly to the next car in front, Arthur Leclerc, but we're not really close enough to do anything at the moment. And yeah, we're just going to bide our time early phase in this one unless we have a really good opportunity. But for now we've made a clean start, and we can take a look at a replay, see what happened off the front row. Looks like Jack Doohan got away cleanly and immediately covered the inside line. Richard Verschoor come alongside a little bit to try to fight that one, and actually got a long way around the outside. And Richard Verschoor might have a chance to take the lead here. Doohan holds it around the outside of turn 2, inside for turn 3, and eventually holds on to the position ahead of Richard Verschoor. But it's a hard-fought battle between those two, and it's going on behind as well. And it looks like that's Kushmaini in 3rd position now, and it is just squeaking ahead of Teo Porcher. So our teammate also getting a good start, and was able to get the better of Teo Porcher in that little battle. On board with Dennis Hauger off the start, and you can see Hauger got probably the best start of this lot. Went down the inside of Clement Novalak, and probably knew that it was going to be 4 wide. At that point, could see the others already starting to create that 4 wide battle in front. But yeah, anyway, it was Novalak who was able to get the run in the end. Hauger still fighting it though down the inside, and as they continue to fight this one, that's where we managed to swing around the outside of both of them, and eventually Novalak slots in behind, and Hauger has got that position covered. So yeah, interesting start to the race as we continue to look through more replays. That is a pit stop for the Trident car there, I believe that is Clement Novalak into the pits. So bit of damage from that opening phase of the race, and understandably so. And unfortunate for Clement Novalak. Yeah, new front wing goes on to the Trident car. The front wing change has taken eternity in Formula 2, so yeah, poor old Clement Novalak. Race essentially ruined. No required pit stop in this one, so yeah, that is an entirely unnecessary stop.
In the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as quickly as you can. Push, push.
Alrighty, thank you for the encouragement, Mark. But anyway, as we're sitting on the back of Arthur Leclerc, I'm going to call him Charles Leclerc at some point in this series, I'm sure. But for the moment, we're just sitting in the slipstream, not close enough to make a move yet, unless we try a super late move down the inside. We actually have to dodge the car in front just to make sure we don't damage the front wing, but we do actually get the move done
Keep taking care of them.
on Arthur Leclerc, and we've got green flag out, yellow flag behind as Isaac Hadjar retires from the race with the mechanical failure. So it's a shame for Isaac Hadjar. Will not make it to the end of this one. Here's the onboard, and actually sent it up the inside into turn 1. Made a bit of contact with the Van Amersfoort car there, so bit of a weird one for Isaac Hadjar. Pulls off the road, and I think that was Correa that he made the contact with. We continue on, we go full send, and that does not work at all on Teo Porcher there, and we not able to get that move done as we had a little bit of an off through the mid-sector. Now can we get the run towards the right-hander here? Down the inside we go, and again we go quite deep, just trying to avoid contact with Kushmani there, and once again we find ourselves losing out to Teo Porcher. So yeah, it's a tricky phase of the race for us at the moment, just struggling to stay in a consistent rhythm. A lot of mistakes here and there.
Okay, you've got P5, P5.
But yeah, we are in P5, so we have made progress overall. We go on board with Roy Nassani, who's trying to make a move on Enzo Fittipaldi, and gets the squeeze on the inside, and a lot of contact made between those two cars. And one of the Premers slips through around the outside amidst that. I think that was Ollie Behrman, who we now go on board with, and we'll see how things played out here. Ollie Behrman, knowing they're going 3 wide, but yeah, gives Fittipaldi a little bit of a squeeze on that inside line, and didn't give Fittipaldi much room didn't give Fittipaldi any room to give Nassani room, essentially. Did not leave space for 2 cars, unfortunately. So that's my little verdict on that. Nassani actually already had damage to the front wing at that point. You can see looking rearward from Fittipaldi here, the right front end plate is gone from the Nassani car, so the fact he's actually got some pretty good pace still, he'll be pretty disappointed with that. Because that actually sent him into the pit lane, unfortunately, to finally get that damage fixed. But his pace was pretty good despite the initial damage. Here is an onboard of the start to see where Nassani got the original damage. There's a 4 wide moment in front, and again it was just a squeeze. 3 cars into 1 with Victor Martins on the right hand side there, taking off the right front end plate of the Nassani car. Anyway, we go back on board with myself. We go for the lunge again down the inside of Teo Porcher, and I don't know if that's something with the setup work I did, but I really am getting...
Okay, good work. Great pass.
I'm getting the feeling that my brakes are just nowhere near as good as anyone else's. I feel like I have to brake so much earlier, and still I end up shooting past everyone else and overshooting the corner. So yeah, it took a bit of getting used to. You know, it feels like you know, having... almost feels like I've got, like, in Gran Turismo terms, just got the stock road car brakes in this, well, what is a Formula 2 car. But anyway, we send it on our teammate Kushmani there, and we get that move done quite nicely. Kushmani slots in behind, and we can now go chasing after the higher places on the podium. but with those moves we have moved up into third place as Clement Novalak retires from the race with a mechanical failure and parks up in the same place as his fellow Frenchman Isaac Hadjar earlier in the race. So it's unfortunate for Novalak as we have a tentative look down the inside that turns into maybe more of a serious think about an overtake, but ultimately we had to back out of it on Richard Verschoor, another experienced campaigner in the second and third tiers of the F1 ladder. But we ascended on Verschoor, but again, just like Portier, Verschoor switches it back. He's got the experience to do that for sure. And as we continue to push on, another send down the inside, and this time we are going to continue the fight side by side on the exit, and we should be able to get it done on the inside of turn 9, and we'll do so. But Verschoor putting up a good fight, and it's still not over. He switches it back again as we continue all the way now along this back straight section into turn 11. We might be able to get this done around the outside. We give him plenty of space on the inside though, and we're a little bit hesitant on the power. Verschoor's still there on the left hand side. We're pinched on the inside curve there, and Verschoor gets back through around the outside, and we still can't get the move done on the Dutchman, who is doing a great job to hold on to second position. We're losing touch massively with Jack Doohan though, which could help us in terms of trying to get the run in another DRS zone. So as we continue to fight on, we do eventually get the move done. Unfortunately, I had to record that one from the replay cameras, but yeah, we got through eventually on Richard Verschoor, and we got it done at turn 1. That's Kushmaini locking up, and that's Teo Portier slipping up the inside, and Kushmaini loses out on that position, drops I think it's a P5 from that. So that's a shame for our teammate, and that's the ART driver slipped through. Yeah, Kushmaini still be driving a solid race, but and actually got the better of Portier off the start. Remember, they were fighting side by side on the first lap, but Portier gets one back. Here's the onboard. Just one clumsy lockup was all it took for Teo Portier to sneak back up the inside. Kushmaini was quick to come back across though and make sure no one else was going to get through. Look at that. Chops straight across in front of, I think that must be Arthur Leclerc there. But anyway, we've now got Jack Doohan in sight, and we're going to make the move to the outside as we head into turn 1. And we go quite deep, but we should be able to get this done inside of turn 2. And we'll fight our way through, move ourselves up into first position as we rocket ourselves up towards turn 4.
By 3.7 seconds.
And yeah, our teammate dropping back a little bit in this race, so we were a little bit wide there. But yeah, Kushmaini back down into 5th position. But there might be an opportunity for him soon, because there is a fight on just ahead, as it looks like Richard Verschoor is starting to struggle in this race. Teo Portier makes the move around the outside to the inside of turn 2. It looks like Portier might be able to get that move done. And here comes Kushmaini. He's ready and might be able to take this opportunity towards turn 4. To the outside of Richard Verschoor goes the Indian driver, and Kushmaini gets through around the outside. And it's a nice move to take advantage there, as Verschoor was a little bit compromised on the exit. Kushmaini moves up into P4. Verschoor loses 2 places in one sector and is down into 5th position, and a lock up there. And things are not getting any better for Richard Verschoor, as he'll soon be looking in the mirrors to Arthur Leclerc, as we've got another driver pulling off the road. That's Ayumu Iwasa with a mechanical failure. So it's tough times further down the pack, but the pressure's on now for Jack Doohan, with Teo Portier going around the outside. And looks like Portier might be able to get this move done to the inside of turn 2. Doohan fights a little bit harder than what Verschoor did, so Doohan might have a chance to hold on here. Who's going to get the DRS? The momentum is Portier, who pulls ahead towards turn 4 and takes 2nd position for the ART team. Portier has really forged forwards in this race, and in fact Doohan continues to struggle on in this race, as now Kushmaini, fellow Alpine driver, is making the move around the outside and gets through on Jack Doohan, who had a very strong start to the race, leading the way for a bit, but it's not going well in the latter stages, and yeah, Doohan really starting to struggle. But further up the road, back to us. This race has absolutely flown by, and we're now coming through the final 2 corners, and to the line now. It is going to be race victory in the first race of the season. We're going to replicate what Ralph Boschem did in real life, winning the sprint race in Bahrain.
Right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
And the engineer couldn't care less. But goodness me, what a way to start the season. The perfect way to start the season.
It is going to be sweet for the Swiss driver. It's victory for Ralph Boschem.
It might not be the same points as the feature race, but it is the same podium, and they get to wave at the fans from it.
I can see them on their way out to the podium now. Campos have come a really long way in this sport, and what a special race this was to see them earn the top spot.
So it is a race victory here in Bahrain in the sprint race. Teo Porcher finishes in a 2nd position, with Kushmaini making it a double podium for Campos.
It was great having you with us for this weekend. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you when Formula 2 returns.
Not much of a summary there by Alex Jakes. Normally they go, through the driver of the day, updates and things in the Drivers and Teams Championship, but not today apparently. But I do have to say, credit where it's due. I do appreciate that they mention the driver's name, the winning driver's name, at the end of the race. I think that's a cool little addition that has not been in previous games. Normally they only talk about the winning team. But anyway, it was obviously race victory for myself ahead of Teo Porcher, Kushmaini, Richard Bashaw, Jack Doohan, Arthur Leclerc, Dennis Hauger, and Jane Deruvala rounding out the points scorers in this one. Victor Martins ahead of Deruvala in the championship, though, with 2 points for pole position for Victor Martins. The fastest lap point, we managed to grab that one, so we're on 11 points so far versus Porcher on 8. That is the current championship standings, but of course a long way to go in this championship season. ART is 2nd in the Teams Championship behind us here at Campos. Again, in a funny coincidence, the first team I drove for in that first F2 season in the 2018 Formula 2 cars, driving as Roberto Meri. That was also for Campos, funnily enough. We had Luca Giotto as our teammate back then. There's another throwback, but anyway, my point was that we're in the championship lead ahead of ART by 7 points after the first race, but of course, like I said, a long way to go, so let's not get too excited about that. But yeah, I think there's going to be a tough fight from ART Teams Championship wise, with Porcher and Martin, the 2 Frenchmen there. I think Jack Doohan will be very strong this season. He had a lot of pace in this one, just didn't quite get things together, and I think we'll see why towards the end of this little highlights reel. I didn't actually put it in the race itself, because I didn't really get a good angle of it other than what was shown in this highlights reel. I didn't actually pick up on it until watching this, what exactly happened. But anyway, we will see that soon enough. But yeah, Jack Doohan's going to be very quick. Richard Bashaw had some good pace as well. Arthur Leclerc was in amongst it, and I could just about list everyone in the top 8 who was pretty quick. Even Ronasani looked pretty good, even with that front wing damage. Would have been interesting what he could have done had that not have happened. But yeah, for us it was really the solid starts of the race and making those moves early that got us into position to be able to fight for the win later on. Being able to get through, the first few cars very quickly, and then despite a few little mishaps here and there, a few over-optimistic moves, we were able to ultimately get through. Here's what happened with Jack Doohan. We ran a little bit wide. Jack Doohan tried to switch back underneath us, and a little bit of contact was made there. I didn't think much of it at the time. It didn't do any damage to our car, which is why I didn't ultimately put it in the video. But that's what happened with Jack Doohan. Maybe he got some damage.
Welcome to Sakir and the Bahrain International Circuit, where the grid is forming up ready for today's race. Plenty of opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit for these young F2 drivers to show what they can do. The best passing opportunity right up there at turn 1, and we should see plenty of action there. But there's another not long after at turn 4. There are 9 right-handers and 6 left-handers, and the possibility that we could see some flat spots at the tightest of those left-handers, that's turn 10. Here are the starting positions for today's race. Victor Martins lines up on pole position, edging out Ralph Boschung, who lines up P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hauger, Leclerc, Clement Novalak, and Deruvala. Miney, Pourchaire, Verschoor, Jack Doohan, Cordial, Nissani, Brad Benavides, Enzo Fittipaldi, Owassa, Behrman, Crawford, Isaac Stanek, Maloney, Correa, and Frederic Vesti completes the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's get down to the track. It is the Formula 2 race. It is time to introduce you to Alex Brundle. I'm Alex Jakes, and we've got changeable weather out there today. That's making for some nervous team personnel down in the paddock, down in the pit lane.
Well, uncertainty is what strategy's all about, but it absolves the teams from the responsibility of running both compounds of tyre. They might have to use that wet tyre, of course, and then the question is, where do those crossovers lie between the wet and dry conditions?
Right, mate, I know it's hot in that cockpit, believe me, but your tyres are even hotter than that. You've got to work really hard today to keep them cool, otherwise we're going to suffer with our performance.
I'm going to be honest. I'm hearing conflicting messages here. Rain in Bahrain is already very unlikely. We've got some cloud cover at the start of the race, but no rain actually forecast, so I think Alex and Alex were getting a little bit excited there. I think this is just going to be a standard race, but even so, seeing a full clouded sky in Bahrain is a bit of a strange thing, I'll admit. But everyone's starting on the soft compound tyres, and I'll be honest, I was tempted to test if what they were saying is true, and I could actually get through the race on a single set of tyres without a pit stop, but I decided we're in a really good position at the start of this race. Let's not risk it doing something stupid like that. So we're just going to do the normal strategy, start on softs, go on to the hards later on as we're to the 5 for red lights, and away we go for the feature race in Bahrain. Victor Martins on pole position alongside us. We're in second, and immediately we're looking to the outside. Martins switches to the inside, and we're going to see if we can make this move straight away around the outside of Victor Martins. And it looks like we might be able to get this one done, as we do swing through into the race lead straight away at the beginning of the feature race here in Bahrain. Martins isn't quite done with us though. He goes to the outside. We've got the inside line covered though. We're going to go a little bit deep here. Martins might be able to switch this one back actually. We've seen them do that, but we do manage to hold on this occasion. And I did put a big effort into making sure that these tyres were up to temperature on the formation lap. So we should have the advantage off the start. Yeah, I don't know what Mark was going on about in terms.
Conditions look stable at the moment, no rain currently expected.
Yeah, no rain expected, which is kind of what I thought. But interesting that rain was actually a thought here in Bahrain, and normally that is far from the truth. But we've got Martins going down the inside of us now as we head into turn 11, as we had a bit of an awkward run, but we'll see if we can hold on around the outside as we're under pressure here, but we will hold on to the race lead for now and remain ahead of Victor Martins. But yeah, it's been a solid start to the race for us, and we've found ourselves in the best position as we come around to the final sector, just a few corners to complete the first lap. But yeah, I'm not convinced that tyre temperatures and tyres overheating is going to be an issue, especially in these cloudy conditions. Yeah, I'm more having trouble with the opposite problem and the tyres being too cold in these Formula 2 cars. So yeah, we're going to have to watch out for that. Here's the onboard start with Victor Martins though, and it was a decent enough start, not perfect for Victor Martins. Ours was marginally better as we made the move around the outside into turn 1, and then a bit of contact on the way into turn 1. I feel like we left Martins plenty of space, and we had a bit of a wobble on the exit there, which is ultimately what allowed Martins to get the run up towards turn 4, and had a lot of momentum there with Victor Martins, but we were on the brakes so much later. Martins tried to switch him back, but ultimately just didn't have the grip to rotate it better and with more speed in the mid-corner there. Here's the onboard with Dennis Hauger, who had a fairly average start. Cuts to the inside to try to defend, but has already lost a position, and there goes another one. That's Novalak going around the outside. I think that was Arthur Leclerc getting through on the inside. Leclerc and Novalak now fighting it out, and Leclerc actually moves up into 3rd position, so Arthur Leclerc getting a great start here in Bahrain. We'll go on board with Leclerc, and Leclerc, I'd say, got the best start of the top 4, I think, and was having a serious thing about going down the inside of Victor Martins, who covers it off. And yeah, we were moving across to the right in the braking zone, but there was definitely still a Formula 2 car's width there. But a bit of awkward contact with Victor Martins, but we're able to hold on to the position regardless. We'll go on board with Kushmaini, our teammate, to see how the start went. And it was not a great one, unfortunately, for our teammate, and lost a position straight away. And there's another one. I think that must be Richard Bashaw going around the outside. So not a great start for our teammate. I think he dropped 2 places into maybe about 9th position. So unfortunate, but he'll recover from that. He had plenty of speed actually in the first race, and yeah, hopefully.
Virtual safety car deployed. Slow down and maintain a positive delta.
VSC deployed, and that is for Zane Maloney, the boy from Barbados, with a mechanical failure, unfortunately. So the first retirement of the feature race here in Bahrain. Zane Maloney is out.
The safety car might be deployed if there's an incident or the conditions are too dangerous to drive in.
Once the safety car's out on track, there's no overtaking permitted, and you must keep your lap time above a minimum in order to safely form a queue behind it. You can judge your pace using the delta element of the on-screen display. Ensure you drive slowly enough to keep it positive. Once the queue's formed, the safety car will re-enter the pits. Remember, there's no overtaking until the green flag's at the safety car line. If the incident's less severe, the virtual safety car might be deployed. It's not necessary to form a queue under the VSC, but just stay above the delta time displayed on your dash and obey yellow flag rules until the virtual safety car period comes to an end.
Right, thank you for that. Anyway, we carry on. So, virtual safety car is out, and in Formula 2, no pit stops allowed under VSC. It would have been very late for us to try and dive into pits anyway, with the proximity of the pit lane to where we were. But yeah, with the VSC deployed, we basically just have to cruise around, and yeah, once we go green, we'll carry on racing once more.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until we get the green flags. VSC ending. Wait for the greens.
And with the VSC ending, we're ready to go once more. And that was a pretty well-timed VSC restart for us. We had just under 2/10 on the delta. So as we get racing once more, we actually had a bit of a moment through turn 8, just a bit deep there, but we've got the gap out now to Victor Martins, and we're looking strong at this stage of the race. So overall, that VSC probably helped us a little bit with a nice restart there, but Victor Martins has bigger problems at the moment because Arthur Leclerc goes for the move around the outside to the inside of turn 2, outside of turn 3, and this fight is going to carry on all the way up to turn 4 between these two, as there's a fight on in the background as well. Between, I think that's Hauger and Novalak, but we'll focus on Leclerc and Martins first, and Leclerc gets the move done around the outside and up into 2nd position, and Dennis Hauger gets through on Clement Novalak as well in the background. So plenty of action here as we continue to watch on, and Martins already under pressure from Dennis Hauger, so Victor Martins clearly struggling with some issues at this phase of the race. Unfortunately for the Frenchman, and now as we continue to watch on, there is Dennis Hauger putting the pressure on Around the outside goes Dennis Hauger into turn 1. Victor Martins again going to try and hold this one on the inside line, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much about it as they're perfectly side by side through turn 2. But Hauger gets the traction down on the exit as they continue to race it side by side. More fighting going on behind as well. But again, we'll just focus on Hauger and Victor Martins for the time being. Looks like Hauger's going to get the move done around the outside. Martins not able to hold on to it on the tighter inside line there. And as we continue on, guess what? Martins under pressure again, this time through his fellow Frenchman Clement Novalak, who retired from the first race, looking for redemption in this one. And Novalak goes for the move around the outside, and it's a nice one. Gets through to the inside of turn 2, and Clement Novalak might just be able to get this one done. Martins fighting back for a while, and they're going to keep this one going all the way into turn 4 once more. Martins has seen this one play out no more than enough times, but Novalak will eventually get through. And Victor Martins is really struggling in this phase of the race. You can see the time that he's already lost to Dennis Hauger up the road, and Novalak now sets off after that group. So Novalak moving forwards in this one once more after losing a bit of pace for a bit, but as we continue to watch on, here comes Kush Maini, our teammate, trying to get in on the action and making the move on Richard Verschoor there, and might be able to get this one done as they continue to race side by side. And on the exit, Kush Maini's got the move done, moved ahead of Richard Verschoor. So our teammates starting to fight forwards in this race on the edge of the points now. But, or actually getting a bit deeper into the points, I should say, as we've got our hands full with Arthur Leclerc, who's actually gotten through there. So Leclerc has some very good pace in this race, and we might be better off just sitting in behind. We'll see what we can do with the DRS up towards turn 4. It's a strong braking zone for us, and we're going to go very bold and late on the brakes here. Down the inside, we're going to keep holding the brakes though through the corner, and we make sure we don't run wide on that occasion. But meanwhile, we've got Victor Martins once again under pressure. That is Teo Porcher. So the two ART teammates now are going to fight it out side by side. Porcher down the inside. Looks like Martins has no interest in making a big deal out of this one. Kush Maini looks like he might be getting involved as well in this little fight. And Porcher gets through pretty easily on Victor Martins, as Kush Maini not able to take advantage of that little battle at the moment. It's time for us to come into the pits though for our compulsory stop, and yeah, we'll be switching on to the harder of the available compounds. So yeah, we'll see. I don't really know when everyone else is planning to stop. Usually we're all within a lap or two anyway, but we'll see what happens as we get the new set of tyres on. And
okay, mate, that's it. Go, go, go. Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that.
And as they should be, a 4.2 second stop in Formula 2. That is a lightning speed. That's almost as quick as V8 Supercars pit stops.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
Which honestly, it's a mystery why F2 pit stops are, relatively speaking, so slow in real life. But anyway, we carry on, and yeah, we'll see what we can do in this stint. It's obviously a little bit trickier in Formula 2. No tyre blankets. We've got to do all the tyre warm-up ourselves. But meanwhile, while we were in pits out on track, there was a little bit more action as we had Kush Maini making the move around the outside of Victor Martins, the two Alpine drivers duking it out side by side. And this is a little bit reminiscent of what we saw with Jack Doohan at the end of the sprint race. But for Victor Martins, he's been struggling with whatever issue he has pretty much since the race started. So again, I don't know if there might be some damage to that car from the contact we made on the way into turn 1, but whatever the case is, Victor Martins is struggling. Kush Maini was able to get through, and Victor Martins continues to lose places. So we carry on then, and as everyone else makes their stops, we move up the order and up into second position. Roy Nassani has decided to go a little bit longer than everyone else. Not on the alternate strategy, just carrying those softs longer into this stint. So it's interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, we're still under pressure from Arthur Leclerc, so not really any huge gain or loss.
Second place, you're in second place.
From the undercut there, but as we continue to watch on, we've got another battle playing out here as side by side into turn 1. That's Jane Deruvala, I think, and Clement Novalak fighting it out. Looks like Novalak is going to hold on for the time being, but perhaps another chance, another opportunity towards turn 4. Not quite yet, but around the outside goes Teo Porcher, and Porcher gets through on Jane Deruvala, so unfortunately for the Indian driver, attack quickly turned into defense, and unfortunately he was not able to hold on to that position. Teo Porcher gets through. Meanwhile, we've got the battle continuing for Victor Martins. This time it is Amaury Cordial, who has actually gained a lot in this safety car sequence. Makes the move around the outside of Victor Martins, but not a great exit there for Cordial. And I think in the background there, that is Brad Benavides going for the move now around the outside of Cordial. Side by side they go, and in a very similar fashion to Deruvala, I think Cordial might be about to lose out here, and does so. Benavides gets through, and Cordial drops in behind, so unfortunately for the Belgian driver, that didn't quite go to plan. I mentioned that Cordial and Benavides were able to benefit from the pit stop cycle. Doohan and Bashaw were the ones who lost out, but Doohan is trying to start the comeback, makes the move on Bashaw, and moves up one position there. But yeah, I think they're currently outside the points, or at best on the very edge. Anyways, we continue on in the race. We're just cruising along in the race lead. Not really too much going on for us at the moment, to be honest. We're just trying to keep up the pace, because Leclerc is definitely keeping us honest. But here we go, battling away now between Teo Porcher and Clement Novalak, and looks like Porcher has managed to get that move done, and has been able to get through again. So Porcher once again showing great pace in this race. Novalak might be about to lose out to Deruvala as well, so a little bit of redemption for the Indian driver finally getting through on Clement Novalak, but he'll be frustrated that Porcher was able to get that move done first. Anyway.
Okay, so all of our tyre pressure data is currently reading 0. Assuming they still look inflated to you, we're going to guess that it's just a bad sensor. Shouldn't be anything to worry about.
Yeah, those tyres look fine to me. Yeah, that's just one of those random things that can happen, thankfully. Again, just a sensor and not a more critical issue. But anyways, we continue to watch on with the battles playing out. You can see the lead we've got now, actually, as we've been pushing on pretty hard, and Arthur Leclerc's actually come under pressure from Dennis Hauger, the Norwegian driver, fighting now for second position in this race around the outside of Leclerc, and might be able to get this one done. Doesn't seem to matter if they go inside or outside there. If you've got the pace, you can get through in turns 1, 2 and 3. Turn 4 definitely seems like the outside is the way to go, but as we continue to watch on the battle playing out behind, looks like Victor Martins might be in trouble here with Brad Benavides closing in, but not able to do anything at the moment, unfortunately. So yeah, Benavides very close to making this move though, and Victor Martins, you can see, holding up a massive queue of cars, and must be really feeling the pressure. Benavides closing in, and a lock up from Martins. Benavides up the inside straight away, and Victor Martins loses out as the two Invicta cars queuing up to join the party, but not able to take advantage just yet. But all this fight might not be over just yet. Victor Martins still fighting it away with Brad Benavides as they run side by side up towards turn 11. But looks like Benavides is going to get through, as we've now got Cordial trying to make the move on Victor Martins. Might be able to get it done, not around the outside there though, and Cordial slots in behind. So it's there's been a couple of opportunities for Cordial, and unfortunately none of them have come to anything. Cordial eventually makes a mistake that allows Doohan up the inside, and now the two Invictas go side by side all the way along the main straight. The Virtuosis, I think they're actually still called back then Invicta Virtuosi, the team that changes their name more often than anyone else. Back when I started these F2 seasons, they were called Russian Time. But anyway, as we continue to watch this battle play out between the two teammates, Jack Doohan eventually gets the better of Amari Cordial through the first complex, and Doohan moves up, and maybe Doohan will have a better chance at chasing down Victor Martins, who now has a gap due to all the fighting away the two teammates just did there. But for us, as we continue to race on, heading through turn 4, and oh, that is a spin out of nowhere there. We've been cruising along at our own pace. We've got a bit of a lead, so we actually managed to get it turned around, and we continue on without losing a position. And that is the margin we've managed to pull in this race. But here we go further back. Here comes Jack Doohan, and is going to try and make the move to the outside of Victor Martins, and it might be a pretty easy one. Victor Martins really been losing pace, and Jack Doohan will be able to get this one done. Martins trying to keep the fight going, but Doohan's got that outside run through turn 4, which is the position you really want to be. Martins is trying to hold on as much as he can, but ultimately on the exit there's just no hope, and Jack Doohan gets through and moves up another position. So finally Invicta start making some progress forwards in this race. It has not been a great time for that team, and now Cordial will try to get on terms with Victor Martins.
Okay, mate, final lap. Keep your concentration and let's bring it home.
So we're coming to the end of the race now, and
Gap to your teammate behind, 21.9 seconds.
it has been a fairly cruisy race for us after that final stop. We did have that one spin, but we had the gap to not have to worry about that too much. So as we carry on, it is going to be not just the perfect race, but the perfect opening round for us as we're coming towards the final corner, weaving all the way there. And again, we've got the margin to do that. Made sure we're nice and straight before we get to the final corner so we don't get to any silly stuff. But we're going to bring it to the line now, and that's feature race victory here in Bahrain.
Ah, superb driving. That is the race win, my friend. Well done.
And this time, the engineer has finally realised we crossed the line first. But what a way to start the season. I don't think we'll have it as easy in future.
A brilliant drive of control and class. Ralph Boschung takes the checkered flag.
Well, they've won, and then they've won again. Back to back. Momentum really building for them at this stage of the season.
It's time to present the top drivers with their trophies for today's race, and there are a lot of people in the paddock very happy with this result. It's Campos on the top step.
So a perfect way to start the season. We do the double here in Bahrain. Dennis Hauger takes second position with Arthur Leclerc in third.
And after all that excitement, I think it's time for a lie down. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you when Formula 2 returns.
Alrighty then, let's take a little run through the finishing order, and we'll see how everyone fared by the end of that one. Of course, we just ran through the podium, so it was Teo Porcher who drove from 8th to 4th. Probably gets my vote for driver of the day in this one, recovering from perhaps not the ideal qualifying position. Jane Darubala P5 ahead of Clement Novalak. Kushmini manages to bring her home in P7, where he started, but had to fight to get back there, to be fair. Brad Benavides, great result in P8 for Brad Benavides. P9 for Jack Doohan, and Victor Martins rounding out the top 10, with Amari Cordial unfortunately just missing out unable to pass Victor Martins, who dropped from pole position down to the final point, and will take home just 3 points after taking pole. 2 of those points for that pole position. A very disappointing weekend for the Frenchman. As for the championship standings though, we are of course in the championship lead, taking almost maximum points for the weekend. We just missed pole position, I think. We got the race win in both races, as well as the fastest lap, so that is 35 points straight up, 37 including the fastest laps. So the most you can score in a weekend is 39, which is also good to make a mental note of later in the season. Teo Porcher second on 20 points, so making plenty of progress in both races and charging forwards. Dennis Hauger sits third ahead of Arthur Leclerc. Then the 2 Indian drivers, Kush Maini just ahead of Jane Deruvala, just a point between them on 12 and 11 points respectively. Then it's Novalak, Doohan, Richard Verschoor, Brad Benavides, Victor Martins rounding out the points scorers. 11 drivers scoring points in the first round of the championship. Cordial, the best of the rest. As for the team's championship though, we lead the way, 49 points for us, 18 points ahead of MP Motorsport on 31. Disappointment for ART, they had one car with great track position and the other car with all the pace, but unfortunately the points didn't quite come together for them. Then it's Dams in P4 ahead of Trident, Virtuosi, Van Amersfoort and PHM. The points scorers so far, Carlin, Prema and Hitech all pointless in the first round. So very strange to see Prema with 0 points 10th in the team's championship, but such is the competitive nature of Formula 2. But anyway, that is all we've got time for in this one, so thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Please feel free to give me some feedback in the comments, always very helpful. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.